Have you ever looked at an older person and thought the hardest part of aging must be the weak knees, the slower walk, the tired eyes, or the pain in the back that never fully goes away? That's what most people think. They think aging is mostly about the body, about wrinkles, medicines, doctor visits, forgetting where you placed your glasses, or needing more rest than you used to. But the truth is, the hardest part of aging is not your body. It's the feeling of becoming invisible while you are still alive. It's watching the world move faster and faster, while your presence starts to matter less and less. It's realizing that people still love you in words, but no longer have time for you in their lives. It's sitting in a room full of younger voices and feeling like your stories are too old, your emotions are too heavy, and your existence is too quiet for anyone to notice. Because growing old doesn't only change your body, it changes the way the world responds to you. There was a time when people needed you. They called your name with urgency. They asked for your advice. They waited for you. They depended on your strength, your hands, your sacrifices, your patience. You were the one waking up early, staying up late, fixing problems, carrying burdens, swallowing your own pain so others could feel safe. You built a life by giving pieces of yourself away. You gave your energy to your children, your loyalty to your family, your health to your work, your youth to responsibilities, and your best years to people you believed would one day understand your value. But then one day, without warning, the world becomes quieter around you. The phone rings less. The invitations slow down. The people who once needed you begin to act like they've outgrown you. And that is where the real pain of aging begins. Not when your hands shake, but when nobody reaches for them. Not when your hearing weakens, but when nobody has anything they want to say to you anymore. Not when your legs struggle to walk, but when there's nowhere left you're truly invited to go. The body can endure a lot. Human beings can survive pain, illness, weakness, and physical decline better than most people imagine. But what crushes the spirit is emotional abandonment. What breaks a person slowly is not age itself. It is the silent message life starts sending. You are no longer important here. And maybe that is why so many older people smile softly, even when their hearts are heavy. Maybe that is why they say, "I'm fine," even when they are drowning in loneliness. Because after a certain age, many people stop asking how you really are. They assume your sadness is normal. They assume your silence means peace. They assume because you survived so much, you must not need much. But sometimes the strongest people are the ones most deeply starved for tenderness. Sometimes the people who complain the least are the ones hurting the most. And one of the cruelest truths about aging is this: the people who once held everyone together often end up sitting alone, pretending they do not feel forgotten. Think about that for a moment. The same person who carried the family through sickness, stress, debt, heartbreak, and fear now waits for someone to call. The same mother whose hands fed everyone before feeding herself now reheats tea that goes cold beside her because no one came by. The same father who worked through exhaustion, who kept showing up even when life broke him quietly from the inside, now sits with memories because nobody asks him about the battles he fought to build the life others enjoy. That is the hardest part of aging. It is not the physical weakness. It is the emotional replacement. It is the realization that the world always celebrates what is new, fast, attractive, productive, and useful, but rarely stops to honor what is faithful, tired, aging, and still full of love. Aging teaches you a painful lesson. People do not only leave when they walk away. Sometimes they leave while still being connected to you. Sometimes they live just minutes away. But emotionally, they are gone. Sometimes they send a message on holidays, post a photo with you once a year, or say, "I'll visit soon," but never come close enough to feel the loneliness in your eyes. And that kind of distance hurts in a different way, because when someone dies, grief has a name. But when someone slowly stops showing up while you're still here, the pain is harder to explain. It feels like mourning a relationship that technically still exists, but no longer lives. And many older people know exactly what that feels like. They know what it means to be remembered only when convenient, to be respected in speeches, but ignored in daily life, to be thanked publicly, but neglected privately, to be called important while being treated like an interruption. That is why aging can feel so heavy, not because the body weakens, but because the heart starts carrying unanswered love. Love for children who got busy, love for relatives who drifted away, love for friends who disappeared, love for the past that cannot return, love for a version of life where they still felt needed. And maybe the saddest part is that older people rarely want grand gestures. They don't need luxury. They don't need perfect words. They don't need expensive gifts. Most of them just want presence. A conversation that is not rushed, a visit that is not out of obligation, a phone call where someone truly listens, a simple reminder that they still matter, not because of what they can do, but because of who they are. But modern life is not kind to that kind of need. Everyone is rushing, everyone is distracted, everyone is busy, and little by little society starts treating emotional presence like a luxury instead of a responsibility. We have become a world full of people connected by devices, but disconnected from the people who once held us when we were helpless. We say we care, but care without time is just words. We say we love, but love without attention feels empty. And aging people feel that emptiness deeply, even when they never say it out loud. That's why some older faces look so calm, but their eyes carry storms. Because when you have lived long enough, you learn how to hide pain and dignity. You learn how to stop asking because repeated disappointment teaches silence. You learn how to expect less, not because you need less, but because hope becomes too painful when it is constantly ignored. And that is a heartbreak many younger people do not understand until it is too late. They think there will always be more time, more weekends, more visits, more chances to sit down and listen, more opportunities to say, "Tell me that story again," more moments to ask, "How are you really feeling?" But time is far more ruthless than people think. One day the chair will be empty. One day the number will no longer ring. One day the voice that waited for you will go silent forever. And the tragedy is not only death itself, it is the realization that while they were here, you kept postponing love. You kept assuming tomorrow would be available. You kept treating their presence as permanent. That is why the hardest part of aging is not your body, because the body is only one part of the decline. The deeper wound is watching people learn your worth after your absence. Imagine what that feels like, to spend your final years being underestimated by the very people you overloved, to become a memory before you have even left the room, to hear people speak over you, decide for you, dismiss your emotions, laugh at your slowness, and act like your needs are inconvenient. There are older people who are not suffering because they are weak. They are suffering because they feel unnecessary, because purpose has faded, because the roles that once defined them are gone. Their children grew up, their work ended, their partner passed away, their social circle got smaller, their home became quieter, and suddenly they are left alone with a question many people fear more than death itself. Who am I now that no one needs me the way they used to? That question can eat at a soul. Because human beings are not built to live only by surviving. We need meaning. We need connection. We need to feel that our existence still reaches someone. We need to feel that our stories still have a place to land. We need to feel seen. And aging often strips away the external things that once made people feel valuable. Beauty fades. Status fades. Strength fades. Social relevance fades. But inside, the person is still there. The same heart, the same memories, the same need for love, the same longing to matter. That is what many people fail to understand. Age changes appearance, but it does not erase humanity. A 70-year-old heart can still break from neglect. A 65-year-old soul can still ache for affection. An older person can still wait all day for a message and feel crushed when it never comes. They can still get excited when someone says they are coming. They can still feel disappointment when promises are broken. They can still cry alone at night, not because they are physically in pain, but because they feel emotionally left behind. And maybe that is why this topic matters so much. Because one day, if life allows, every younger person will face this truth from the other side. One day your reflection will change too. One day your walk may slow down. One day your house may become quieter than you expected. One day the world may move past you in ways you never imagined. And on that day, you will not just hope your body holds up. You will hope somebody still sits beside you. You will hope somebody still asks about your day. You will hope somebody still sees your value beyond your usefulness. You will hope that the love you gave returns in the form of presence. Because in the end, what most aging people crave is not perfection. It is not youth. It is not even health above all else. It is dignity. It is remembrance. It is emotional safety. It is being treated like a soul, not a burden. And there is something deeply painful about how often the elderly are spoken about with sympathy, but treated with impatience. People say, "Take care of old people," but then roll their eyes when they repeat stories. People say, "Respect your parents," but make them feel like guests in their own family. People say family comes first, but leave their elders alone for months while chasing things that will never sit beside them on their deathbed. This is the hypocrisy of modern life. We know what matters, but we live as if we don't. And the elderly pay the emotional price for that denial. A mother may never say that your silence hurt her. A father may never admit that your distance broke something inside him. They may protect your image of yourself, even while carrying the pain you caused. They may tell others, "My children are busy, it's okay," while secretly hoping today will be the day you remember them on your own. Do you understand how heartbreaking that is? To defend the people who neglect you, because your love for them is still greater than your pain. That is the kind of love many aging parents carry. Quiet, loyal, wounded, and still giving. And not every older person is a parent, of course. Some are grandparents, widows, widowers, retired workers, forgotten relatives, or simply people whose lives became smaller with time. But the emotional pattern is the same. So many of them are not asking for much. They are asking not to disappear while they are still breathing. They are asking to remain human in the eyes of others. They are asking for simple closeness in a world that has become emotionally expensive. And maybe the deepest wound is this. Aging forces many people to live in a place full of memories no one else can see. They remember old laughter in now silent rooms. They remember children running through halls that are now empty. They remember hands they used to hold. They remember names no one says anymore. They remember being chosen, being waited for, being central, being alive in the rhythm of a family or a purpose. And now they sit with those memories while the present grows thinner. That contrast can be unbearable, because the body aging is one thing, but watching your life become an archive is another kind of pain. Yet hidden inside this sadness is a lesson every person needs to hear before it is too late. If the hardest part of aging is not the body, then the greatest gift we can give aging people is not medicine alone. It is emotional presence. It is patience. It is respect that feels real. It is eye contact. It is sitting down without checking the time every few minutes. It is asking about their past and not rushing their answers. It is letting them feel like they still belong here. It is making room for them not as a duty, but as an honor. Because one day, their stories will be all you have left. Their chair will become sacred. Their voice will become something you'd pay anything to hear again. Their flaws will no longer annoy you. Their repetition will no longer frustrate you. Their slowness will no longer seem inconvenient. It will all become precious when it is no longer accessible. That is why love must be given while people can still feel it. Not after the funeral, not after the regret, not after the guilt arrives in waves and asks why you were too busy for a 10-minute call, why you postponed that visit, why you assumed they understood, why you never said thank you deeply enough, why you let your pride, distractions, or selfishness create distance that can never be repaired once they are gone. The truth is, aging is not only a test for the person growing old, it is also a test for the people around them. It reveals who values humans beyond usefulness. It reveals who has patience, who has gratitude, who has depth, who understands that love is proven by presence. And many people fail that test without realizing it. They think providing money is enough. They think occasional messages are enough. They think love in the heart is enough, even when it never becomes action. But love that is never expressed can feel like abandonment to the one waiting. And sometimes people don't need your solutions. They need your nearness. They need to know they are not facing the final chapters of life emotionally alone. So if you still have someone aging in your life, a mother, a father, a grandparent, an elder sibling, an aunt, an uncle, a neighbor, anyone who once poured life into others and is now walking more slowly through their own days, don't just assume they know you care. Show it. Sit with them. Call them. Ask real questions. Listen without trying to escape. Make them feel that their life still touches yours. Because the hardest part of aging is not the pain in the knees, the lines on the face, or the weakness in the hands. It is the silence that grows when the world stops leaning in. It is being alive long enough to witness your own fading from other people's priorities. It is carrying decades of love in your chest with fewer and fewer places to put it. It is surviving long enough to understand that many people only appreciate devotion after they no longer have access to it. And if this message hurts, maybe it is supposed to. Some truths are meant to wake us up, not comfort us. Some truths are meant to make us pause before life punishes us with irreversible regret. Because one day, every excuse will sound small, every delay will look selfish, every ignored call will echo. And when that day comes, the body will not be what haunts you. It will be the moments you could have shown up and didn't. So honor the aging people in your life now, not with empty words, but with real presence. Not with public praise, but with private care. Not when it becomes convenient, but while they can still feel your warmth. Because the hardest part of aging is not your body. It is wondering whether you still matter to the people you once gave your whole life to. And no human being who loved deeply should have to spend their final years carrying that question alone. If this truth touched your heart, write, "I will do better," in the comments, and follow Dark Within for more deep truths about life, love, people, and the pain we often understand too late.